I had to start again with just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the
Normally, when we do a Veterans Day program here in Cullman, we'll get maybe 50, 60, 80 people, and maybe a few civilians that'll come out and say thank you. But today was really overwhelming. It was great. And I'm glad the Vietnam vets responded, and I'm glad the public responded.
And I'm proud to be an American.
All day today we've been honoring veterans from all wars, and we've tried to emphasize this year the Vietnam veterans. Welcome home, brothers and sisters.
I'd like to tell you just a little bit about my friend, Melvin Bennett. Melvin was born in 1942 in Cordova, Alabama. He was killed in 1966 in Vietnam. Melvin's mom and dad, when Melvin was born, his dad had already skipped out. So his mom named Melvin Bennett by her maiden name. She struggled, had a hard time getting by. She worked in restaurants, cleaned houses, different things. When Melvin was 12, they decided to move to Cullman. It's kind of ironic, but when Melvin moved to Cullman, he moved right over here in this vacant lot that used to be Alfred Mertz's trailer park. Alfred Mertz had a Shell station right there, and at the same time that Melvin moved over here, my mom and dad built a new brick house right across the street, Highway 31. As you leave, you'll see the Mexican food place, and to the right, there's the beige brick house there. That's where I live. I've come over to the service station to buy candy, put air in my bicycle tires or whatever, and that's where Melvin and I met. Melvin and I became very close friends. He didn't really know anybody from here. We went to church together, we worked together, we played together. We used to play all over in here. We'd come over here with our BB guns and whatever. There was no paved streets, no houses, just gravel road and a lake. We played a lot over here. There was pine trees, sage grass out here. We had our hideout over here. One of our favorite things that we did was we'd take an old tin can, and Mr. Mertz would give us used motor oil, and we'd sit out there and burn the fire and talk about things that had happened and that we hoped would happen. Some things that never did happen.
That 2 days later, he came back from being in the field. And we sort of began our married life together and spent our married life together there at Fort Hood. While we were at Fort Hood, we were so poor. You didn't make very much when you were in the Army. So sometimes we even had to look for change under the cushions of the couch to buy bread. And although we weren't very rich in a financial way, we were rich in love because I've never seen two people more in love than we were, and very dedicated to each other. And so his unit shipped out on September 1st, and back at that time when they deployed a large group of people, they didn't fly them anywhere, they sent them on a boat. He shipped over along with a lot of other people on a boat on September 1st. They left from California, and it took them about 21 days to get to Vietnam. He wrote me every day. I wrote him every day. I really don't know a whole lot about what happened once he got there, except I know he was in battle after battle. In about March of that following year, I think that's when the Tet Offensive was getting ready to happen, and so things were really heating up over there. And although after he got off the boat, the ship, and they started the fighting, he wrote me every day. I wrote him every day. I'll never know where he found the time when he came in at night to write me. But I got not just a 2-line letter, but sometimes 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages. He wrote me every day. I would write him. I had a pad on the side of my bed.
This is kind of rough on me. As it turns out, Jimmy Hutchins, Melvin Bennett, Stanley Cougar, his brother Terry, Neil Jones, we all went to school together. Jimmy, he got up there and he told you about the stuff they did when his kids, made me feel guilty as hell. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to talk about today. Things changed when I got here and heard all that. When I tried to help Ken and Rick locate some of the families, that's when I realized it's real tough to find a Jones. And then I really didn't find a family member who we thought we could do it, so I was going to do it myself. I wanted a boy to be recognized. So here I am. Y'all going to have to put up with me a little bit. Neil Jones and Melvin Bennett have actually come to our home and sat at my mother's kitchen table. I was in Vietnam also. I never knew what happened to him until about 2 years ago. I wasn't able to find much about Neil. Found a photograph of Neil, apparently early on. He's got his flight helmet there. Found another one later on. He's grown a mustache in it. He's matured somewhat. He was a crew chief on an observation. He was a crew chief on an observation helicopter. And one day they got a call that an observation plane had been shot down. There was wounded on the ground and some survivors. Neil and the crew flew in this little observation helicopter. Neil was a door gunner, and he had effective suppressive fire until they got down on the ground. Neil left the chopper, carried ammunition and supplies to the guys on the ground, and brought the wounded guy out with him. They got back on the helicopter. As the helicopter started to let go or take off, everybody let go on him. Neil was hit. He kept shooting until till the helicopter was up and clear, and then he died. Seems to me that there's something in the Bible that says, greater love had no man than this, that he give his life for his friends. And I'm telling you, that is exactly what Neil did. He got the Distinguished Flying Cross for that. I don't know what that means. But I'm telling you, he was special.
Welcome home to all the vets, and it's important that everybody thanks the Vietnam guys in particular. I've got a bone to pick sometimes with guys who treated them nastily when they came home. A lot of guys were drafted. I was a volunteer. I asked to do it. But a lot of guys didn't. They were drafted, they did their duty, and they came home and they weren't treated right. So let's just make it up to them and welcome them home.
Fly away, just a few more weary days and